This video will evidently have spoilers for the RushChars mod. I don't usually mention it, because there isn't much to spoil with an SRB2 mod, but the download page has a paragraph telling everyone to not spoil the mod, so this is your warning. This video is going to be split into 3 to 4 parts, one video on each character, obviously, but then we're going to have to do an additional one in the future for the Soul Emeralds, and if requested, I might do another for their multiplayer gameplay. You get them for beating each boss without taking damage, but I'm bad at the game, so that'll have to wait for a later date. Today, though, we're going to be discussing character 1, Blaze the Cat. Blaze's moveset isn't particularly foreign if you've seen how she plays in her main series incarnations. Her spin attack is now a fiery tornado called the Burst Dash, her double jump is a fiery tornado called the Accelerator Tornado, which can be cancelled into hover called the Burst Hover, and she can boost and move known as the Flame Boost. I've never played Rush, because I've never owned a DS, but from what I've seen of the game, this will all operate as expected. Her Burst Dash has a few minor changes from the Spin Dash, granting greatly increased handling at the cost of vulnerability while revving up, which I see as the kind of small change that shows really how much care was put into a mod. I'm not as big of a fan as a double jump, as it goes pretty high quite slowly. I feel there should be some way to cancel it while ascending, to allow for better flow. You can technically use Burst Hover, which will put you in a descending state, but that feels unnecessary when you could probably just be able to press spin to drop. It's a small, and very nitpicky, change, but I feel it could help the flow of a mod a lot, as I find myself hitting ceilings and losing my momentum a lot. And keeping up your momentum is very important for this mod. To use your flame boost, you have to be in rush mode. Think of it as being like Metal Sonic's dash mode in how you enter and exit it, but the massively increased speed and decreased handling requires you to tap another button. It's a smart decision, as not only does it mean that the flame boost is a lot more natural than most mods, who stick it unceremoniously on a custom button, it also means that you will keep your control in areas where you have good flow and momentum, but don't necessarily want a massive increase in speed. There is one other small change compared to the base roster that Blaze has. For a small window of time after touching fire, she won't be damaged. I think the idea is nice. She has fire powers, of course she should be immune to lava and the such, but I don't understand why the developers chose to make it a timed thing. I'm assuming the idea was to make it not completely broken in levels like Red Volcano, but you can circumvent this by simply jumping constantly, which makes the entire time limit a hassle rather than an active threat. You can extend the time limit while boosting, but it still feels strange. You can clearly see it from the background footage playing, but Blaze's sprites look superb. Inazuma has really managed to make them fit in perfectly with a lineup of the original game sprites, and to my knowledge, none are just recolors or edits of base game sprites. Even though a lot of the more detailed mods will use at least a few recolored sprites for jumping or revving up a spin dash, so that was nice to see. The fire sprites used during jumps and spinning also look really good, with a lot of colour variation and exaggeration, although I do have to say they look like they were done by another artist to Blaze's herself. There are multiple sprites for both characters in this mod, so that probably is because they were actually done by someone other than Inazuma. I also have to congratulate the effects that play while boosting or using Accelerator Tornado. Usually, I find that the effects a lot of mods use seem pretty OTT, with big screen shakes or massive trails that seem exorbitant and completely mismatched to what is actually happening. But for Blaze, it's all a little more reserved, in a good way. It's all done in a way that makes it feel like a natural evolution of the ability they transition from, and doesn't smear over the screen in an unattractive way. I applaud it. Blaze is a great first character for this mod. She fits in perfectly with the vanilla cast, looks pretty much as good as can be, and is a fairly simple mod to pick up. My only two, very nitpicky complaints are the lack of a way to cancel the Accelerator Tornado in a way that doesn't give you forward momentum, to better handle platforming, and the unnecessary timer for running on lava. Again, those are very nitpicky complaints though, so they won't affect Blaze's score. This isn't the score for the entire mod, but Blaze herself gets a perfect 10 out of 10 from me. And that is the Blaze portion of this review over. Obviously, this took longer than I wished to come out, mostly because during the script writing process, there are a lot of things that caused me to miss entire days where I could have been scripting or editing. Also, I struggled with getting all the relevant information for this character. I have a save that I have completed with every emerald that I use for recording and testing characters, so I can see how the character works with pretty much every gimmick, and allows me to record footage in the most relevant zone for them. However, RushChars is not compatible with that save, probably because it is 3 separate characters, and the 7 Emeralds Lewis script that I used to instantly get every Chaos Emerald also wasn't working with any new saves I made with these characters, probably because of the soul emeralds you can also collect. Frostykin mentioned a jet ski in this mod, but I've been unable to find it so far, which also makes me worry about how many other features I might miss while going through these characters. There's so much I can really do other than hope some of the people on my Discord might be able to hint at what some of these features are, but for now, thanks for watching the video, and ciao.